Raiders. Here's a crew I expected a lot more of, and I got a chance to talk to Dave Pastore, and he was pretty honest with me. He goes, hey, you know what, that's paintball. Those are the breaks, and he understands that, hey, you know what, we got a couple more events, or actually about 4 more events to go. Not a big deal. Again, we ran into, just bad breaks, and this just wasn't our event. So there has been some rumors of a lot of people leaving now because of this and whatnot, but of course that's what the fun of paintball is all about. So Jacksonville, again, disappointing performance, but I don't think the wheels have fallen off just yet. So look for them to, again, reclaim in Tampa here. But speaking of that, it's going to be interesting to see as Tampa and the NXL are back-to-back. I've talked to a few owners that have been excited about that because they say, okay, hey, we can plan everything, the hotels, the events aren't that far away, talking with the South Carolina to Tampa. So a lot of guys are pretty happy about that. It gives them a block of when these guys can, go fresh from one event to the next. So we'll see how the back-to-back events really play out. And let's continue on with the rest of the teams here. In 14th place, DC Arsenal. Now, here's again a controversial team here. A lot of rumors and going back and forth. Talked with Dave Baines, the Beast, and who was hurt that event, but nonetheless in an Arsenal uniform. And it turns out what's going on with Arsenal is that this spot has been sold. There was some controversy there with putting it on the market, and supposedly Spider had interest, and turned out to be one of these, hey, let's stir up interest and try to market this team. And ended up now being Dallas Elite, which is going to take this, who is playing in the semi-pro division with none other than Little John Marquez. So I don't know if him and Gary have split ways and what's going on with Hybrid. That's what we'll leave to Dale and 68 Calibers to figure out those industry rumors. But nonetheless, Dallas Elite is now taking over the Arsenal spot. My understanding is JC and some of these guys are going to go down to the semi-pro team and kind of regroup from there. But nonetheless, a big shakeup early here in the 2007 season. So who knows what's going to happen with Dallas. We'll just have to find out in Tampa. All right, moving on. 15th place, Miami Rage. That's right, Miami Rage in 15th place. I tell you what. Here's what we're going to do. Art Mendoza and the guys, we're just going to, again, as they call it in football, we say we're going to burn the tapes. We're going to forget it ever happened. I know Chino had some classic Chino moments there with the refs and whatnot, so we're just going to call this one a wash and say, all right, forget it, let's move on. Coming back home pretty close, their home state to Tampa, so look for those guys to put a strong finish on All-Americans. Again, as we talked about last show and the previous show, I didn't see a lot happening from these guys. I'm not sure what they're doing with this spot. I don't even know who's actually playing in there or not. And I saw a couple of their games, and again, just more of what we expected. Although I do not think, again, the All-Americans belong there. I don't know how seriously they're taking the spot. Not 100% sure what's going on. I know they're committed to the NXL, so who knows what's going on. 17th place, Chicago Far Side. That's right, the name has been changed from Chicago Evil to Chicago Far Side. So now, obviously, they picked up some of those Far Side crew, but unfortunately, it didn't quite work out on Huntington Beach, but that's okay. You pick up a lot of new guys. It can be expected. So, John, we're not going to ride you too hard for 17th. Let's look for big things in Tampa. All right, last but not least, Excessive. And here we go. That's what inconsistency is all about, defined here by Excessive this year, where did very well in the NXL in the opening round. Everyone's surprised. I figured these guys, and I went on the webcast, as you heard me do a lot of the calls there, talking about, oh, excessive. I was totally on the Excessive bandwagon. And what happens? These guys fall flat. Now, some experts have predicted that they just had too conservative a game plan, and because of last year of the quality players that they had, with a conservative game plan, you can do well with that. However, when you don't have the numbers of talented players, I mean, there's talent on that team, but not at all 7 spots, obviously, and so these guys aren't able to use the same game plan that worked last year. Again, demonstrated by their last place finish, but again, could be another Miami Rage type thing where, hey, it was a slip, let's forget it, let's move on, etc., etc. So Excessive is going to be my new wild card prediction, because who knows what's going to happen with these guys. So Telford and the guys, again, look forward to seeing what you guys do in Tampa, because I have no clue and don't know what to tell you folks at home. So we'll see what happens with the Excessive squad. All right, folks, that's it. That's all 18 teams. That wraps up this edition of Pro Paintball Weekly Huntington Beach post game. Stay tuned for the next Pro Paintball Weekly, as we're going to preview the NXL and the nppl coming up here shortly. God bless everybody.